Welcome to this bonus episode where Mwendia shares about the first and only Side B ministry on the African continent. Hello, Mwendia. Thank you for coming back on to New Kinship. We spoke to you maybe a couple of years ago and you shared about your life, but you have some new updates of what's going on in Kenya and outside of Kenya with your life and ministry. So we would love to hear. Do you have anything else to add, TJ?
No, but we're very happy to see you again since our last time at Revoice together, and we look forward to hearing more about what you're doing these days.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me back. I really enjoyed our recording last time. I think it's one of the clearest conversations I've had around even my own story. So I love that. The few times I've had to share my story, I found it's like the clearest thing to share to someone who really want to understand my context. So that was wonderful, and I'm back to really share where I'm at. I'm back in Kenya. Well, I'm saying back in Kenya because the last time we talked, I was in Kenya, then I went to China, and then came for Revoice, and then came to Kenya. I was in China for like 18 months. And I think what took me out of China, what I was doing in China was because I felt a desire to come back and continue the work of Found in a full-time basis. And what I mean by the work of Found really is I had begun journeying with people who are navigating faith and sexuality, specifically people who are experiencing same-sex attractions or who are LGBTQ. And I think in that season, when I was doing ministry in China for like 18 months, it was a moment of discernment what God would want me to do, and I was feeling that I think it's time for me to just commit my full time to seeing how I can journey with people who are navigating faith and sexuality, and mobilize others to be part of this. So yeah, that's what I'm back in Kenya to do.
Okay. Tell us more about what sort of experience or motivation kind of produced this change? Because I know you were considering staying in China for a longer period.
Yeah, I think of it was the conversations I was having. I was having different conversations with people who are back in Kenya. So I remember like sometime October last year, this friend of mine who were with in school, finding an article I'd written on one of our blogs, and getting to read my story, and texting me and telling me, "Hey, this is my story too. Do you have a moment when we can talk?" And I remember us it was talking, and it was like 2 a.m. China time, and that was like 9 a.m. Kenyan time. And I had like many of those conversations. So I would find myself, I had to kind of split my hours, and I would find myself in the late hours of the night having conversations with people. And I think all that culminated to me feeling, hey, I think there's work here. But also the other thing was in my conversations with God, I had this feeling that what I was doing in China, anyone else could do it. But I just felt that what God had begun with me in Kenya, especially just journeying with people navigating sexuality, was not something that many people are doing, and it's something that most people would be afraid to do. And so I felt that, yeah, what I was doing in China was good, but anyone could do it. But I felt this is something here in Kenya that maybe for now, it's me who need to realize a few more people to do this. So I would say major.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you, in the past months that you've been doing this, have you found anyone else who is also working with you to pursue this ministry?
So I have more of, so I have like a team I'm working with, which I was working with before, made up of some Kenyans, but also I have a guy from Ghana, a friend, a mutual friend with both of you. Um, so yeah, I have that team who are more like the ones who are like leading with me. But I also have like found as a board, or is in the process of forming a board, which is
Mhm.
which consists of different people. Like have I think in the board it's the three of the people are actually straight
Okay.
and
Mhm.
two are not. And out of like
Mhm.
in the one is a pastor somewhere. Another one is she's doing some work with youths. And so I have like
Mhm.
these people um are not like who are interested in this conversation but don't know how to do it from the spaces they are in, and they
Yes.
see the possibility of found reaching out more, and they have come in and said, hey, I think we can support you in doing this. So yeah.
Wow. Okay. So what has ministry looked like for you in the past few months since you returned to Kenya? Not
um
few, maybe it's maybe 6, but yeah. How has it
Actually,
looked?
one, I've had a lot of chai and chat. I can explain that.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah.
so chai is a Swahili word for tea, and chat is conversations. So
Mhm.
since I came back, I have had a lot of chai chats, like meeting with people in hotels, and we are having conversations. And much
Mhm.
of those conversations have been more of people who had reached out to me when I was away, just meeting with them and just having conversations. Um, but also, things I needed to follow up with some people. So I've had all those conversations. And then we have a program we call Journeys of Faith, which we began sometime in 2023. But it's majorly just again people who are Christians and are walking the journey of faith and seeking to just live out the faith in view of their sexuality. So we meet monthly for like an hour of conversations. Sometimes we have people come in and share on some certain topic. So we have done that consistently. Um, yeah, we used to blog some time back, and we are back to blogging. So
Oh, wow. Mhm.
yeah, so
You'll have to
we've had
share your website with us again.
yeah, it's foundafric.org,
Okay.
found then AFRIC, uh, then dot
Yeah, we'll put that in
.org.
our show notes too. So sounds good.
Sure. Yeah, so we are back to doing that. So I think majorly that the March. We are also on social media, like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and we have uploaded a few stuff over there, videos, and we had done some interesting conversations also on social media, especially TikTok, which is
Oh,
actually
really?
making us, oh yeah, yeah, making us think, oh yeah, I think we have a generation of people, especially the 19 years to 21, that has a
Mhm.
leadership. Yeah, I think we need to think of how to minister to this particular group. Um, yeah, so
God bless you for venturing onto TikTok.
I mean, I wasn't on TikTok for until this year, August. That's when I found my first TikTok account. But I'm glad to be there to be doing stuff like this. Yeah, so we've done that, and we are trying to launch a few other programs. Um, yeah, but majorly that's where we are at.
Mhm.
And I was, I just received a letter from a friend who was doing a short-term mission trip in Northern Africa. And they alluded to someone there who came to receive the Lord, but had a sin struggle that had kind of kept them isolated. And I was like, I think I've heard this story before, and I emailed them like, does this person potentially are they attracted to the same sex? If so, you should know about this ministry called Found. And he's like,
Hmm.
"Yep, you hit it on the nail." And I was just thinking, wow, uh, where else can these folks go? You know, as people are reaching out to you, are they always Christian? Are they coming from Christian contexts? And what's the kind of isolation that you are seeing people experience?
Yeah, I have had both people who are believers and people who are, yes, believers, and others who are believers and not exactly following the same, like not believing the same way as I believe around sexual ethics. Um, and especially from the church, majority of those who have come in or who have reached out to me are those who are saying, "Hey, I've never shared this with anyone." I was having a conversation this week, and someone said, um, I don't know, sometime a few years ago, actually might be 2 years ago or something like that. Someone had come to their church and was talking about chastity. And so when it came to the time for question and answer session, he decided to write a paper asking, saying, "Hey, I have these same-sex attractions. I have prayed around them, and they have remained. And I'm part of the praise and worship. What do you do? Like, what should I do?" And he says that the response was, that's demonic. Um, and we who are here are children of God, and so yeah, don't bring such things here, and don't waste our time. Really, let's go back to like the stuff we were talking. Like, let's go back to other serious stuff which are affecting believers. And yeah, just listening to his story and feeling, wow, that was heartbreaking. And it's really by God's grace that that person is still a believer, though is no longer attending church regularly. Um, yeah, I have had people literally. Also, I've had other conversations, like where someone was saying one day he reached out to a pastor, and pastor was compassionate and like met with him. But then after that first meeting, his desire to try follow up and just seek for more help was ignored. And so he, like literally, the pastor ended up not receiving his calls. So
Oh. Uh-huh.
yeah, yeah. And that's how we stopped going to that congregation, because now, I mean, so there's been a lot of stories, and much of it is around how people perceive the whole same-sex attractions, LGBTQ
Mhm.
stuff.
Mhm.
Um, I think some believe, hey, you can do something and you will be straight.
Mhm.
And so you persist in those feelings. People are like, well, we don't know what to do with you. um, and then there's again the fear of, yeah, this stuff from out there that's being introduced in the church. So let's try and keep off as much as this as possible. So I've had all those things come in, like people with all those experiences. I've realized something different, like from the few months of engagement with people who have reached me from TikTok, who are like 19 years, 21 years of age. I've realized that majority of them have actually have formed their own convictions. Of someone like, hey, I'm 18. Like, I accepted myself as gay when I was 18. I'm 21, and I know I'm gay, and I'm okay to be in a relationship with another guy. Um, but hey, like I've found some of them who have, like by that time they have already formed their convictions, and I think majority of them are saying, hey, um, I did pray about this, and God didn't take it away. And they have, I think some of them encountered some of I would say, some of those arguments that like help them to know you can actually, be gay and be Christian. You can actually also be in a same-sex relationship, and it's all right. So I found like the younger generation are kind of way ahead. They have some of them have their own wrestling and from their own convictions, and they're really okay with that, which is very different from like the majority of the age group I've been reaching out the last
Yeah.
2 or 3 who are more of my age group. Who,
Yeah. Yeah. The world is
uh,
different now with these current
yeah,
young
like
young people.
I
Yeah.
when I was 18, I knew there was something like gay people, but I'm like, that's not me, and I'll never go there. And I was wrestling more with my sexuality when I was 25. That's when I was trying to be like, okay, what do with what I have?
I
So
think
yeah, that's I think the difference in the population I'm reaching out to.
nice. What have been some of the barriers that you've experienced as you've moved into this ministry work full time?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to now see if I can share about. Um, I think suspicion on what I'm actually up to. So with a few conversations I've had with even mentors, it's been them trying to understand why a ministry to same-sex attracted people, um, and they just be in church and receive teachings like other people. Um,
Yeah.
and like we're not sure, like I haven't convinced some people like, hey, I believe in the biblical sexual ethic, and even
Hmm.
me as a person, this is something I'm trying to follow. Um, so having to convince some people around that, like the older generation, ever to do that.
Hmm.
But even in my with the other gay people, gay same-sex attracted people that I'm meeting now, majority don't seem to get how you can say you are gay and you can actually say that you still believe that marriage and sexual relations are to be between a man and a woman. In a
Hmm.
so like, okay, so we get the gay part, but we don't get this other part because it seems
Yeah.
like the obvious thing, if you accept your sexuality, the next thing should be that hey, you should be okay with looking for uh, a sexual partner. So
Hmm.
that's something also I've experienced even within the community.
Oh yeah.
So I've had to
Hmm.
do a lot of explanation. We're in the process of registering found, and I'm actually wondering whether, is us just fixing our attention on we are just reaching out to people with same-sex attraction, stroke LGBTQ, the thing that will like will it be acceptable more that way, or is it even worth having like a broader vision of we are journeying with people who are navigating faith and sexuality, but know that we have this part of like, same-sex attractions that is like our key thing that we are doing, just to ensure that we like we don't like we don't get murdered before we have even begun. Like this baby found that is just getting formed, just ensuring that we are like the suspicion, especially because of the suspicion, we are trying to ask how best do we structure ourselves so that the setting we are in is yeah, like more acceptable, uh, but still we are able to do the ministry that God has called us to do. Yeah.
Hearing about these kind of generational differences that you're experiencing,
Mhm.
are you finding that 50% of your time is, you know, receiving people who've been kind of hiding in shame and it's their first time talking to people about their experiences, and 50% is actually helping the youth say, no, the Bible actually does teach us, and this is good even for you if you're gay or same-sex attracted?
Yeah. Yeah, I would actually say that. I mean, especially once I've ventured more into like the social media and such. Uh, that's the second one where I've had to like do that. But yes, it feels more like 50-50, which before I thought was like a 70-30. But it feels like now I have had to like do that in a more 50-50 way.
Mwendia, are you getting good responses on social media, or do people oppose your messages when you post?
Um, I mean, the last few months it's been okay. I mean, I've had one like bad argument, and even that one, I hadn't even like said anything that is so outright. Like, I'd basically done a post about myself and said um, something that, yeah, like no longer straight, but honoring God. Something simple, like it wasn't like anything that's
Yeah.
I mean, from where I stand, was like, no one should be offended by this. And then someone went and I highlighted that part and said, what do you mean by this? And I tried to explain and seemed like he didn't really want to hear me. He had already made his own uh, like understanding. And so he began saying stuff. I didn't want to continue that. So that's the only thing I think I've experienced so far.
Okay.
Again, because earlier on, I think from 2019, I have been posting stuff on social media apps. Uh, and I was experiencing a lot of backlash then. But then I think since last year and this year, I have kind of learned a way to cushion myself from that. So one of them is like being conscious of words that I use, but another one is having separated found from myself. There are things that I can say as Steve, and I have that measured in many ways. But also there are things that are like when I'm posting from the found Facebook page, I mean like I can say anything there, or even if I share a found Facebook post. Like there's a way I'm trying to like cushion myself from direct attack as a person. And I'm like, yeah, if you want to attack anything, attack the ministry. But so I'm happy to come to social media as a person, Steve, and have found come in as found. And yeah, and I think that is slowly helping me not to experience a lot of personal backlashes.
Mwendia, as we come to the conclusion, I wanted to ask, how can people, our listeners or others, support this work that you're starting or building right now?
Um, so if you go to the Found website, which is founderfreak.org, you will find a place written support us. There you will find a place give to our work. And when you click there, it will take you to a platform that you can sign in either a monthly support or a one-time support. So that's more on financial ways. And we can even give the link to the platform direct. But another one is really to actually pray for us.
Yes.
We need those prayers. I'm realizing even just doing the structure of our now that it's in its very initial basis. Doing that structure needs like a lot of prayers. The people I'm meeting with every other day, but also even the people that we are working with, we all need a lot of prayers. So praying for us. And number three is, yeah, I think we are here to serve Kenya and serve Africa at large. I'm glad that in our team we have people from, I think, more than 6 African countries who are part of the larger team that we are in. And so, yeah, if you find like if you find someone out there who is looking for a ministry that can just work with them and journey with them, we can see what to do from a distance, and we can see how to connect them with others who might be closer to them, who can be a blessing to them. So, yeah, I think just connecting us with others that we can reach out more to. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, brother,
Thank
for
you.
joining us, sharing, but above all, for just the way that you're loving Jesus and seeking to build up his church. I was just, yeah, thinking of, wow, there are millions of Christians on the African continent, and millions of those experience same-sex attraction, and this conversation is just more and more prevalent and even urgent for these times. So thank you, and may God bless your work strongly and continue to build up your team that is working and serving together. May
Thank you so
provide
much.
all the resources that you need to do it.
Amen. May
Amen.
God bless you, Mwendia.
Thank you so much.